everyone, Ron Carpenito, Prime Property Team here at Keller Williams Realty in Andover. And as promised, just wanted to give you a quick update summarizing some of the things that are going on in our industry to keep you in the loop. I'll try to spend a minute or so on each topic. Let's jump right in. So the mortgage industry, rates this week are up slightly. Now, they should be lower in my opinion and based upon my talking with certain people. But the mortgage industry, the rates, they're not reacting how they should with this stock market sell-off. And that's a little bit complicated. You should talk to your financial advisor or your mortgage lender to get a more definitive definition. Long story short, when stocks sell off, usually they move into the bond market, which usually impacts mortgage rates lower, but we're not seeing that reaction take place. Rates were also set a little bit high and pushed up by the banks to kind of cut off the massive refinancing boom that happened so quickly because the rates did drop sharply 2 weeks ago. But I will say, as it pertains to mortgage rates going forward, we have a very accommodating monetary policy now in place from the Fed and from the government, showing the willingness to add liquidity and to add stimulus to the economy, which should assist with mortgage rates staying low from now going into the future. We still have very low rates, 3.5, very low on a 30-year fixed, but not as low as we would be expecting to see at this time. Moving on to housing now. So this week, yes, we did see some deals come back on market. So we saw an increase of deals kind of fall apart, and the reason being is the buyers being nervous about the COVID-19 situation. And we have to summarize from that the deals that were in place that died this week were deals put in place about a month ago or a couple of weeks ago, before the brunt of this emergency crisis was known and before all of the work from home type programs came into place. So, and also the industry is being shut down. And we're seeing the primary people doing backing out of deals are in the industry of they're losing their jobs or they're not sure where their job is going to be in a few months from now. So it's kind of normal to have that happen. What I will say, though, is activity is still very high with buyer activity. We are still seeing new listings come on quite regularly. And going forward from this point on, any buyer going out there, buyers, listen up. Any buyers going out there now, you are advised. You know what climate we are in. If you are still shopping and looking to purchase, you should be confident in your job, should be confident to buy the right property, to be in it for 5 to 10 years is our minimum, is what we say, that you're going to be comfortable there. And that will help you outweigh any cycles in real estate. So the buyers going out there now, they are well informed about what's going on, and moving forward, they might benefit from a lower buyer activity, which might reduce bidding wars, might reduce competition. They might actually be able to win a home, okay? We are seeing, potentially less sellers going forward a little bit because of the concern of people coming into their homes, and they're worried about the potential of the virus. And so to talk about that, what are we doing in our industry to help keep them safe? Now, no realtor can keep anyone 100% safe, but we can certainly put some things into effect that can be helpful. On our end, our team has decided not to host open houses anymore. No more public open houses. We're going to revert to, if and when needed and desired, group showings. These are private, put out to the broker community, group showings between this time and that time. Brokers show up with their clients, and they come in and they follow a process where we are controlling the flow of people through the home. That is something we're going to be implementing. We're also going to be, disclosing upfront to all agents and their buyers that they are seeing the home at their own discretion and their own decision. Certainly they should know whether they should be going in or not, and that everyone should be following the CDC guidelines regarding social distancing, hand sanitization, not touching doors, light switches, things like that. We're also going to be putting hand sanitization systems in our homes that we are listing, and we're exploring more virtual open house solutions, or just doing more video and more ways to show homes beyond having to get out there, just to help ease the demand to see homes when it's going to be a little bit lessened. So that's what we're doing on that end. I will add, let's talk about functioning in real estate. So a big concern that we have are we able to transact real estate? And I got to tell you, the government wants us to continue the real estate sales, because it is a huge, one of the biggest portions of our economy is housing sales. And people do need to move and they do need to buy even during a crisis. I'm sorry to say it is the truth. But there are many different moving parts in a real estate transaction. But I'm happy to report that the registries of deeds in our state are all functioning with e-recordings now. So they are closed to open foot traffic, but we can record a deed and record a transaction. We also have been allowed to use gap insurance, which the attorneys in the insurance industry have put in place so that if we do have a problem, we can still technically close but not record until a later date, which is going to be helpful. Point of note, if you have recorded land property, that's a different story. If you have recorded land, you may not be able to record. Not sure about the gap insurance, but check with your attorney on that. Also, the smoke detector requirements. State of Massachusetts requires the smoke detectors to be certified by the towns prior to closing with a certificate presented at closing. Governor Baker on Friday has just waived that requirement as long as buyer and seller both agree to some language in their purchase and sales agreement that will require that the detector certificate be gotten 90 days after the state of emergency is lifted. So we'll be able to close with that. Another thing is we do have to rely on towns. And this is town specific. We have to check with each town where we're doing business that we do need to get a municipal lien certificate from the towns. And as long as the town, as long as the town halls are open and they're accessible with phone calls and email and technology, we should be able to have no problem with that. It's if they do go to a permanent shutdown that we might have some challenges. And of course, banks, don't forget, we need to be able to obtain your final mortgage payoffs and things like that. So the larger banks are all remaining open. If your mortgage is kept with a local smaller bank and they shutter their doors for a while, we may not be able to get a final mortgage payoff and close the loan. So that's what's going on functioning wise, and we're still staying ahead of that. Now, potential of recession, everyone's worried about where we're going to be if this continues. Well, recession, again, defined as 2 successive quarters of GDP reduction, and we're certainly going to see that in we're in quarter one. So quarter one of this year will definitely be a reduction. Quarter two, likely a reduction. So we will technically be deemed in a recession probably in July, August, okay? Now, what we're being told is, though, the economy was very strong as we headed into this crisis. This is not a housing-related crisis as it was in 2008. Housing was very strong heading into this. So once we get through this, housing should come out strong. There should be strong bent-up demand from buyers. They're not going out. They're not spending money on anything except Amazon. But basically, they're going to be wanting to get out and buy. We might run into another housing shortage again in September, October, if all goes well. Clearly, if this becomes a 6-month to a year crisis and everything is closed, things will be a different story. But that's basically the update this week. We'll be checking back in with you, every week as much as we can. And of course, we're just a call away to help. Ron Carpenito, give us a call if we can help you. Prime Property Team. Be well, take care, stay safe.